Hi friends, this is Parvati. I think everyone who are preparing for UPSC civil services know that Indian Polity written by M. Lakshmikant, also known as the Bible of Polity. And in that textbook, the part 1 deals with the constitutional framework, or in our constitution, the part 1 deals with the constitutional framework. And in that, the chapter 1 or the first chapter is historical background. The first period of Indian Constitution was from 1773 to 1858 was under the company rule, and there were many prominent acts were present, or they were occupied during that period. First one is Regulating Act of 1773. This was considered as the first step to control the British East India Company by British government. And in this act, it is clear that there was an establishment of a new controlling body called the Court of Directors, and the governor of Bengal was changed to Governor General of Bengal. And then there was an establishment of Supreme Court of Calcutta in 1774. Second one, which is one of the important act, is called as Pigs India Act of 1784. Its features include: it distinguished between the commercial and political functions of the company. It allowed the Court of Directors to manage the commercial affairs, but created a new body called Board of Control to manage the political affairs. That is, the Court of Directors have to take care of commercial matters, and the Board of Control have to take care of the political affairs. Okay. Next important act is called the Charter Act of 1793, and its features include: it extended the overriding power given to Lord Cornwallis over his Council of Ministers to all future Governor Generals and Governors of Presidencies. It gave the Governor General more powers to control over the governments of the subordinate presidencies of the Bombay and Madras. It extended the trade monopoly of the company in India for another a period of 20 more years. Next important act is Charter Act of 1813. Its features include: it abolished the trade monopoly of company except trade in China, trade in tea, and trade with China. All other trade monopoly was abolished by British government. And the sovereignty of British Crown over companies' territories in India was clearly start from 1813 Charter Act onwards. And it allowed the Christian missionaries to come to India for enlightening the people. And then it authorized some local governments in India for the first time. Next important act is Charter Act of 1833, and this was the final step towards the centralization in British India. Its major features include: Governor General of Bengal was changed to Governor General of India, and our first Governor General of India was Lord William Bentinck. And it also, the Charter Act of 1833 also introduced a system for appointing civil servants. Next one is Charter Act of 1853. It separated the legislative and executive functions of Governor General of India. And in the previous act, it was not evident, it was not clear about the position of Indians in the case of civil services appointments, or if they have the ability to participate in the civil services exam and all. But in Charter Act of 1853, it has changed to, or it was allowed to Indians also to participate in the civil services exam, and to be part of the to be part, or to be work as a civil servant. It introduced local representation in Indian Central Legislative Council, and it authorized the local governments in India. And the next period is Crown Rule from 1858 to 1947. This significant, and the next one, first one was Government of Indian Act of 1858. This significant act was enacted in the wake of the revolt of 1857, also known as the First War of Independence or the Sepoy Mutiny, and the act known as the Act for Good Government of India, and it abolished the East India Company and transferred the powers of government, territories, and revenues to the British Crown. That is, all the powers, administrative, commercial, and all economic, all the powers uh, which were vested to British East India Company was completely changed or completely come under Her Majesty of British Crown. It ended the system of double government by abolishing the Board of Control and Court of Directors. Then it created a new office called the Secretary of State for India, vested with complete authority and control over Indian administration. And it established a 15-member Council of India. Governor General of India was changed to Viceroy of India. And the first Viceroy was Lord Canning. Next one is Indian Councils Act of 1861. And in this act, there was a beginning of the representative institutions by associating Indians in the lawmaking process, and it initiated the process of decentralization by restoring the legislative powers to the Bombay and Madras presidencies. Okay, the next one is Indian Councils Act of 1892, and its features include it increased the number of additional non-official members of the Central Provincial Legislative Council. We know that the Central Provincial Legislative Councils were created in the under Charter Act of 1853, and in this Central Legislative Council there were a number a particular number of people in that, and in that non-official members were also present. They were Indians, and other official members will be British. The same thing, and in this case, that is Indian Councils Act of 1892, it increased the number of additional or non-official members in the Central Legislative Council, Central and Provincial Legislative Councils. And the Legislative Council got the power of discussing budget. Next one is Indian Councils Act of 1909. And in this act, the members of the Central Legislative Council has increased from 16 to 60. And Satyendra Prasad Singha has become the first Indian to join the Viceroy's Executive Council. The Communal Electorate has been established under Indian Councils Act of 1909. That means it introduced a system of communal representation for Muslims by accepting the concept of separate electorate. Under this, Muslim members were to be elected only by Muslim voters, and Hindu voters will elect only the Muslim, uh, Muslim members, etc. I like that. Like there was a separation by assuming or by considering their religion. That is known as communal electorate. For each religion, separate members, separate voters, and all. Okay, it was not based on their age or something. It was just based on their religion. The selection procedure of a particular place. If majority of the place includes Muslims, they have to elect only the Muslim member, and only Muslim voters can vote also. That was the contradictory of Indian Council Act of 1909. Next one is Indian Council Act of 1919, and in this act, the features includes it relaxed the central control over the provinces by demarcating and separating the central and provincial subjects. Provincial subjects were transferred to, it was divided into transferred and reserved subjects, and there was an introduction of bicameralism and direct elections only in the Government of India Act of 1990. Next one is Government of India Act of 1935. The act marked a second milestone towards a completely responsible government in India, and its features include uh, it separated two lists, the central list into federal list and provincial list. It abolished the hierarchy of provinces, but diarchy at the center, that is a lower house and upper house would be present in the center. Only one house would be present in the provinces. And there was an establishment of Reserve Bank of India under Government of India Act of 1935. And the next and the final important act is the final act is Indian Independence Act of 1947. We know that on February 20, 1947, the British Prime Minister Clement Attlee declared that the British rule in India would end by June 30, 1948, after which the power would be transferred to responsible Indian hands. And under this declaration, the Indian Independence Act of 1947 was enacted, and it ended the British rule in India and declared India as an independent and sovereign state from August 15, 1947. It abolished the office of Viceroy, and after the enactment of Act, there was a partition of India. Partition of India happened, and the two independent countries called India and Pakistan were created under Indian Independence Act of 1947. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like my videos. Thank you so much for listening my classes. If you have any questions, please write on the comment section. Thank you so much.